Hello and welcome to my channel Inspiring Life Changes. My name is Colette and I'm here today to do a reading for the collective for the Galactic Center Conjunct Jupiter, which is happening today. So I'm not going to talk about subscribing and all that until the end of the video, so I'm just going to get straight into the astrology part of this and then I will get into the main part of the reading. So today at 27 degrees Sagittarius, we have, I'm sorry, but I'm going to have to read it from my notes because I can't remember everything. I've been writing this information down. So as I've been kind of getting these downloads, if you like, as people tend to call them. So the Galactic Center, for those people out there who are unaware of it, is the point where our galaxy connects with the bigger universe. So I kind of like to think of it a bit like an umbilical cord, and the information is kind of being fed through that kind of meeting point, a bit like a baby in a womb where it's fed information or fed food literally by its mother, but in this case it's kind of like the food is our information. It's what we're being upgraded by, and I will explain more of that as I go in depth into the astrology. So when Jupiter is at this point, when Jupiter is passing over the galactic center, it means it's about expansive energy, because Jupiter is all about expansion, it's optimism, it's joy, it's expansion. Spirituality in particular is related to Jupiter, because Jupiter is ruled by Jupiter is the ruler of Sagittarius, which is where all this is taking place. So the Sagittarius house is where all this is happening. So Jupiter is perfectly at home at the moment. He's feeling really comfortable. He's in his own house. He's taking his time to move through the sign of Sagittarius, and he's kind of teaching us things. We are learning about new ideas, growth, spirituality, philosophy. It's a higher mind, higher learning, the things that kind of beliefs as well. Beliefs come into this in a really big way, as does kind of the law and the justice system as well. But at the moment, I think it's a lot of it is to do with kind of showing us a bigger picture. As Jupiter moves across the galactic center and the galactic center is downloading into Jupiter, it's kind of saying that there is a more expansive, bigger picture out there than the one that we have lived so far to date, and that we can create something different, if you like. So yeah, it's helping us to learn and understand that there are more possibilities than those that we're used to so far. It's a cosmic download that is giving us all an optimistic belief that we can evolve into something more than what we are or have been so far, and what our limited beliefs have allowed us to achieve so far. And this is because of the enormity of the upgrade of energy that's taking place here, because this is literally the connecting point to the rest of the universe, the expansive, massive universe that's out beyond our tiny little galaxy, which we live in. And we don't even know enough about our own galaxy yet to even be able to comprehend, if you like, what's out there beyond. We are still learning about our own galaxy, as well as trying to learn about what's beyond at the same time. So this energy is going to be taking us to a place where it'll be a vision that we need to work together with. It's bringing in a new idea, new growth. And this only happens every 12 years, because Jupiter is on a 12-year cycle. So it would take another 12 years before it gets back to the galactic center again, in which time things will have changed astrologically, zodiacally. things will have moved on, planets will be in different places, and different things will be happening again as Jupiter once again goes over the galactic centre. Different energies will be in play. I'm not going to get too much into that at the moment. I might kind of express some of it through the actual reading itself if I feel that the astrology is coming through with the cards. So, yeah, so over the next 12-year cycle, it's going to be a time of struggle initially, because it always is when something new is being birthed, which is really what's happening. And in order to grow, change and transform and evolve into a brighter, more expansive future, we will have to let go of the beliefs that have kept us stuck where we are, and repeating the same patterns over and over again, even just in this last 12-year cycle, and going back generations as well, pre-generations, generations before us. The same, it's almost like the same stories that keep repeating. But each time Jupiter passes over the galactic centre, it kind of takes us up to another level. So it's like a slow kind of growth, a kind of spiralling growth of evolvement for the human race, if you like. And the major thing here that Jupiter is learning or is teaching us or is helping us to understand, being of the higher mind and the kind of the cosmic downloads that Jupiter is being given, which will be passed on to all of us collectively one way or another. We will get a different kind of outlook on life and maybe even change our beliefs because of it. But it's really about truth, and it's saying that there is a cosmic truth, a universal truth that goes way beyond the understanding of our limited human belief systems, our opinions, our judgments, our own kind of coming from our own egoic truth, if you like. This is much bigger. This is about showing us a bigger picture and saying, you know, that there's a cosmic, universal law out there, which we all have to live by. And in some ways, the planets kind of enforce that on us as well, on our little ecosystem that we live on. There is so much more out there that we are yet to realise and discover. And Jupiter is here going over this galactic centre point so that we can upgrade our entrenched belief systems, and we can kind of tune more into the universal spiritual laws of higher energies. And that, like I said, it is beyond our limited understanding, or even the galaxy we live in. And because it also rules the higher mind and philosophy, it's also kind of saying to us, you know, ask the deeper questions of why are we here? What is our purpose? And asking us to align with the belief that there is a bigger truth, that there is so much more that we could understand if we just allow ourselves to let go of our own limited beliefs, because it is our beliefs that give us our limit. People literally will die for their beliefs. People will literally, if their beliefs are so enforced and so entrenched and so ingrained in them, people will stand up and die for what they believe in, whether that's something that's a good thing or whether it's a bad thing. But people, it causes a lot of problems because people are so kind of trapped in what they believe to be true. And this galactic center point is kind of saying, like, you know, these truths are just minor truths compared to the more expansive, bigger truths that are actually out there. So don't allow yourselves to stay caught up in these kind of minor truths, these kind of limited belief systems that have been passed down from generation to generation, whether that be religious, whether that be court systems, whether it be whatever it's about. It's kind of, it's all very limiting and all very kind of yeah, limiting and what's the word I'm looking for here? It stops us evolving, and it stops us from growing. It stops us from seeing a bigger truth. We limit ourselves with our belief systems a lot of the time. What else was I going to say here? Yeah, okay, so the universe is basically asking us to align with that belief and the bigger truth, and as we watch things collectively play out on the world stage as well, we will see these kind of things being brought out into the light much more over the next, I would say, 6 months or so. Things are going to kind of come out from under the stones, under the woodwork, and kind of places that they've been hiding and in the dark shadows and what have you, and things are going to come out because Jupiter is quite like a bright light as well. I like to see Jupiter as a big bright spotlight that kind of shines once it kind of has you in its sights. It kind of like brings out that truth. It's like you have to start seeing the truth because there is no alternative in many ways. It's like, you know, there is a universal truth that has to come through. And so Jupiter is going to become like a big spotlight on the things that have been hidden in the dark, as Jupiter itself is going to move into Capricorn, which is kind of a place for more serious events, shall we say, that are going to be taking place. Also, the conjunctions that are going to be taking place as well in 2020, which again I don't really want to bring and involve in this reading or this kind of video. I will be doing more about that at a later date, but just to suffice it to say that Jupiter is going to be playing a part within all that as well. So the truth will be coming out more and more, and that could even involve truths about things that have been kept shall we say, galactically kind of hidden from us, things that those in higher places already know, but they have kind of kept it in the dark, away from, you know, the normal person, shall we say, because it would completely change not only our belief systems and our outlooks, and it would change their control over us as well. There would be no way that they would be able to keep that kind of system in place that they have been keeping in place for the last 500 years or so. So that's probably all I need to say about that. I would just say on an ending note that something bigger is being awoken within the soul, and it's almost like a remembrance, like something is being awoken within us, like those of us that are here and know we're here for a higher purpose and a higher reason. It's like something, another level. It's like going up another level of something being kind of awoken, like a wake-up call from the divine, like a giant bell being rung, and people suddenly realizing that there is so much more to this story than meets the eye on a collective level. So I'm going to leave that there. That's the overall kind of understanding of what the galactic center is about and what it means when Jupiter goes over the top of that galactic center. And the last time that took place was in 2007, 2006, but at the same time Pluto was in exactly the same place as well. So Pluto is a whole different story. Pluto kind of really did kind of change things for a lot of people on a deeper level, bringing in transformation and death. It's a totally different energy from 12 years ago. So the first card And the cards that I'm using here are the Greek Mythic Tarot deck by Juliet Sherman and Liz Green. And the first card that we have here at the centre of the reading is the Ace of Cups upside down, which kind of says to me that people are kind of saying, where's the love? Where's the love? That's kind of just the message that I got come through immediately. I saw this card upside down. It was just this kind of collective looking around the world. Where's the love? What's happened to it? How have we got to this point of not knowing how to love ourselves, not knowing how to love each other? What happened? What went wrong along the way? Why is this cup upside down? Where's all the love gone? It's all falling out. If your cup is upside down, then you've got nothing in it. It can only be filled when it's upright, when it's standing up, not when it's upside down. So I think collectively this is what's happening at the moment. We are being kind of forced to question that truth of love as well. Where is the love? Where does it come from? Where do we find it within ourselves? And why do we feel this way? Why do we feel empty at this time in our lives? 2019. Where is this emptiness coming from? Is that an emptiness of our soul as well? Because this card, sorry, can also represent the soul for me. A need to fulfill the soul, not just our emotional needs, but on a deeper soul level. And the card that we have crossing this one, our challenge on a collective level at this moment in time, is fighting the dragon. And it's almost like this is our fears, this is what stops us from allowing ourselves to have this, if you like. And for me, the dragon kind of represents our inner space, our kind of illusionary fears that seem so very real at the time. In this card, this is Jason, and he needs this. This is his prize. But in order to get this, he needs to battle through this. And in some ways, I would say that this is the cup as well. This is kind of love and truth and all those kind of higher mind things, shall we say, that we have somehow lost on the way. Somehow the human race has kind of lost its purpose and its kind of understanding. And in many ways we've allowed this to happen to us because of our fears. We are held in place by our fears. All sorts of ways and reasons and whys and wherefores. A lot of it again is generational. Of being told that this is the way it is. And most people would rather just accept it than battle something like that. That takes courage. That takes guts. And most people would rather just accept this, which to me represents the kind of negative energies, shall we say, on the planet. Because what do dragons like to do? Dragons like to hoard gold. That's what dragons like to do. And so it is about taking back our power. It is about fighting that dragon. It is about standing up for ourselves. But standing up for ourselves by facing our own fears, facing our dragons, facing our own blockages. That's what that's saying to me. And this is why we haven't got this at the moment. This is why we're all feeling kind of depleted and empty. and soulless, unhappy, because we've allowed ourselves to be defeated before we've even started. In many cases we just admit defeat because it's so much easier than it is going up against the greater forces. And don't get me wrong, there's a lot of power in that dragon, a lot of power, but Jason still manages to defeat it. He still comes out victorious. So that's what's at the heart of the reading at this moment in time, and what's in our heads collectively, and what we are aware of is this beautiful card of the High Priestess. And this again is all very inner kind of work, if you like. The story behind this card is this is a Persephone who is the daughter of Demeter, and Demeter is a representation in the Greek Mythic Tarot. She turns up as the Empress, who is kind of the Earth Mother, if you like, the Earth Goddess. But Persephone was stolen by Hades and taken down into the underworld. And Demeter went to Zeus to complain and say that tell him that she wanted her daughter back. And Zeus said that she could only come back if she hadn't eaten anything in the underworld. Well, it turns out that she had eaten. If you see here in her hand, she has a pomegranate, and she had actually eaten one pomegranate seed, but that was enough to kind of stop her from being able to come back into the world permanently. So she disappears for 6 months of the year, which is when we have our autumns and our winter, is when Persephone is said to disappear back down into the underworld. And during the times that she's out, we have our spring and our summer, so everything comes back to life because Demeter and her daughter are reunited. But the High Priestess also talks about the intuitive, instinctual, the deeper understanding of life, of our feelings, of our emotions, of the place that we need to go to fully understand ourselves, even though we may not want to. She holds the secrets. She takes the secrets with her down into the underworld. And there's also a very strong element for me of real innocence in this card as well. Real innocence. There's a real kind of innocence about her, real beauty, and a real kind of innocence of her never having been forced to live even, above the ground, and the traumas and the kind of turmoils and all the kind of things that happen up here as well, kind of take place in the deeper realms too. But the earth itself is not, what's the word I'm looking for? It's not, these things happen above the ground as well. So it kind of says on some level, is the underworld as scary and dark a place as we believe it to be on some level too? But the High Priestess says to look at life with a fresh and a new outlook, a new perspective, a new unjaded, not to allow yourself to become jaded by what's been and believe that just because it's always been that way, it will always stay that way. because that's what kind of keeps us trapped. That's what kind of keeps this in place, if you like, these kind of, you know, these fears that it's always going to have to be that way because it's always been that way. High Priestess says, like, look at things with new eyes. Because every time she comes back out from the underworld, the world has changed. It's a new spring, new summer, new growth. But we also have to allow, and we are at the moment going in the northern hemisphere at least, we are going down into this kind of darker world of like longer nights and darker days without the sun shining to light our way as well. So it's in our head, and what we are aware of at the moment is this kind of place of not really knowing. Not really knowing, that's the feeling I get from this. We are in a place of not really understanding. But we have to somehow be open to it on a deeper level. This is also a card of kind of, I suppose, because it's the underworld, it relates to Pluto as well, Hades, the underworld, in the sense that Mercury is also going through his time down there at the moment. Mercury, the detective's down there, digging out the dirt, digging up secrets on a collective level as well, which will eventually come out into the light, because that's what the High Priestess does. So, what's underneath and what we are not so aware of at the moment is an upside down Three of Wands. Now, had it come up the right way, this is about acceptance. Because here he's being offered something and he's accepting. So he's accepting responsibility. Sorry. But for me, this card is saying that there is at this moment in time, there's a collective feeling of not wanting to take responsibility, of handing our power over to others, because it seems so much simpler than having to battle through this. We don't particularly want to be there doing that. It's so much simpler to just go, well, okay, you just take control and tell me what to do, and I'll just do it. In many ways, you know, it's kind of, I will just bow down to you. And let you live my life the way you see fit for me. Not the way I see fit for me, but the way you see fit for me. Because I don't want to have to argue my rights. I don't want to have to argue what's right, what's wrong, what's true, what's not true. It's much easier to just give in. But this feeling of just giving in, it's also something that we're not aware of. So we're also not aware of the fact in some ways that it's linked to this, that this is kind of causing our unhappiness. Because on some deeper level, if we don't resonate with truth, then we're not happy. It's like we all know it on a deeper level. We all feel it. We all sense it. But do we express it? And I think that's what this is saying here as well. Do we express it? We might feel it, and we might all feel fed up by it and want more than what we're getting. But are we prepared to do anything about it? This is what I'm picking up on for the galactic centre, Jupiter, conjunct the galactic centre, which is taking place today. The bigger truth for all of us, the wake-up call, the having to realise that we've got to stand up, that there is much more to this. And what's moving away, but what's been around for a while, is the Page of Wands. And this could also be, this could be seen as two things. This could be seen as somebody leaping towards the truth, if you like, leaping towards this Ace of Cups, because they want to, they want the challenge, they want to do something about this. But it could also be seen as those who want to leap away from it. So there could be two sides to this Page of Wands here. Those that want to remove themselves from situations that they don't want to be in, because they don't want to have to stand up and face this dragon. If you see here, he's actually on the golden fleece that Jason later battles for. And he was given this golden fleece by Zeus, who is Jupiter, strangely enough, to escape a situation that he found himself in. So Jupiter gave him this golden fleece, which took him away from a dangerous situation. And the golden fleece ended up here, in the claws of the dragon, for Jason to battle. There's Jason here, being told what he has to do in order to claim his birthright. This is his birthright. He actually is the son of a prince, but he doesn't, son of a king, sorry, but he doesn't know that. He's not aware of that fact until he arrives back in his hometown. But this card came out upside down, so to me it's saying that the storyline here is that we don't want to take that responsibility. And we would much rather move away. But there are going to be people who will jump towards this. There are going to be people who will stand up for what they believe is the truth, because they want their cups full. They can feel it. They know it. They know there's change coming. They can sense it. And they don't want to ignore it. They're fed up with having their cups upside down and feeling empty. So they're up for the challenge. They're ready to leap towards it. But of course, those who are ready to leap in the opposite direction are not going to understand those that want to go towards it. So that in itself is going to cause problems, because they'll be saying, well, why are you doing that? What are you doing that for? Why not just, you know, keep the status quo? Why not just carry on with things the way they are? Because that's so much easier. But those that are going to leap towards this know that that's why they're doing it. Because it's time that the status quo was not the status quo. The status quo doesn't work anymore. Status quo is broken. So, the energy that's moving in, as this energy moves away, is the Eight of Wands. And this is saying that there's going to be a time of things flowing easily and life getting easier, things getting more more simpler, more fun to be had. It's also going to be, I feel, a lot of kind of messages here as well. I also feel that it depends on, you know, whether or not you jump on this boat or not, whether you're going to leap away from this boat or whether you're going to leap towards the boat. And I think those that leap towards the boat will actually have an easier time of it than those that leap away from the boat. Purely because they are going to have to come to terms, if you like, with their own choices. And there is another reason why I say that as well. But this is what's in the collective energy at this moment in time. The Judgment card, again reversed. So again, it's kind of saying to me that the situations here are not being dealt with. At this moment in time, what's happening collectively on the world stage are things being literally turned upside down, in the sense of, this is, if it was up this right way, again, kind of like, you know, you've got very similar energy here with the High Priestess between the two pillars, and there's Hermes between the two pillars. This represents Mercury. He literally is Mercury. Hermes, who is also the magician in the minor arcana. In the major arcana, he appears here in his greater form of the messenger of the gods. And the messenger of the gods at the moment is literally in the underworld of Scorpio, Pluto, digging up all this past dirt and scandal and memories, and kind of saying, this is the truth, if you like. This is a truth. There is a truth here, but that truth is not being listened to. That truth is not being allowed to come out. The Judgment is a call. It's a call to it's a call to the greater good in many ways. It's a call to again, stand up. Call to stand up. To face the demons. Face your demons. Face those things that you don't want to let go of. Because as I said earlier in my astrological reading as well, is that, you know, if we don't let go of these things, then we won't evolve, we won't grow, we'll just carry on doing the same things over and over again and wondering why the results don't change, why nothing is filled up, why we're still feeling empty and soulless. And the card that's coming out next is the Knight of Swords. And the Knight of Swords for me is very much about very fast movement, very quick change. It's in the placement of how other people see the situation. So I'd say that I'm going to read it as I do with all my collective readings. I'm reading it as how we are all seeing each other at the moment. And again, it could also have something to do with this as well. There will be some who will move quickly towards the situation. There will be those who move quickly away from the situation. And the situation being that we need to be facing truths that we don't necessarily want to be facing. That's what he's saying here. It's very sudden energy, it's very quick moving, it's thinking on your feet, it's not being able to The mind is restless in this card. There's a restlessness, there's a need for change, there's a need for something else. And there's not a it's not a sentimental card either, this card. It's like when change happens, it happens quite quite abruptly. And it's just like, okay, time to move on. Like there's no sentimentality there. There's no kind of like holding on to things that we want to hold on to. It's almost like we don't have that choice there. And there's another reason why I say that as well, which will come out later in the reading and will make more sense. So those are the... I'm going to bring this out as well. This is the hopes and the fears. Our placement of hopes and fears is the 8 of Swords. Again, it's upside down. Up the right way. It's still not a particularly nice card, whichever way up it is. So this way up is a feeling of being trapped. But the person who is trapped is basically trapping themselves. You've got Apollo here, who is a very patriarchal god. He's the sun. He's the sun god. In the Greek mythology, Apollo wasn't as important, or the sun wasn't as important as Jupiter, which is interesting in itself, because Jupiter is a representation of Zeus, or Zeus is a representation of Jupiter, whichever way around you prefer. But Zeus was seen as being the top dog, the big boss, not Apollo. This came later. So this is Apollo, the very patriarchal systematic, very masculine driven energy. And these are the furies of the mind, if you like. These are the kind of the things that drive us insane, our own thoughts, our own mind playing games with us over and over again. In this card here, he's allowing himself to stay in this trapped situation because he could just walk away, but he can't, because he is kind of beholden to this god here. One, because he also is a boy, so he's of the same gender, he's masculine, so therefore he cannot go against the sun god, who represents everything he is. And the Greeks very strongly believed that the gods held our lives in their hands, which on some level they weren't wrong, because they are the planets. They are the planets, and the Greeks knew this. So upside down, this card represents our fears of being trapped kind of forever. I mean, in this card he's trapped anyway, but in this it's kind of this kind of just fearing, just like there is no way out. There's no way out. Why even bother trying? Why even bother? Again, you know, it kind of has a similar feeling to this card down here as well. Why even bother? Why take responsibility? Why even try? Again, because it's swords, it is the mind playing games, and it's our own mind that keeps us trapped where we are, mostly due to our fears of what will happen next if we do something that goes against the patriarchal system that's been put in place and has been there for hundreds of years, keeping us trapped in our own little worlds, our own small cages. You could almost use the word kind of slavery as well, in the sense that we are slave to our own minds. And the need to somehow break free. And that is kind of the energy I feel that this kind of Jupiter galactic center is kind of showing us. That there is a bigger truth beyond this. Beyond what we so far have been told to believe. This being the patriarchal system. And the last card that came out here is the Five of Swords. And this came up the right way. But with the Eight of Swords in our hopes and fears, it's exactly the same scenario, if you like. Only here, this is him, this is Orestes, who is being told he has to go and do something. He has no choice. Apollo, the patriarchal sun god, is telling him he has no choice. Or he can have a choice, but that choice will also lead to, well, it's unknown. It's unknown, shall we say. But he's being threatened in this card by Apollo. Apollo is holding him by his own kind of patriarchal rule and law. And again, because it's swords, it is the mind. So he here has this choice to make. And the choice has to be made in his mind before any action can be taken. So to me, it's saying that we have a choice. It's come out the right way. If it was upside down, I would say that we all kind of feel that we're doomed and that we can't, we don't have that choice. That choice has been taken away from us and there's nothing we can do. Which kind of fits in with the rest of the reading at the moment. But I feel that there is this kind of awakening, if you like, that we do have a choice here. That we do have the ability to change things. But it is going to take some inner work. Some inner changes. Letting things go in order to move beyond where we are so far today as a collective whole and move into something more fulfilling for us, which again, at the heart of the reading, this is what we want up the right way, but this is what we feel we've got at this moment in time. So I'm going to use a deck of cards that I have not used in any of my readings that I've done so far. And this is the Good Tarot by Colette Reed. Beautiful cards. So I'm going to ask for some cards to put over this reading and clarify. I'm going to clarify what's at the heart of the reading. What's at the heart of this reading? The Ace of Cups reversed and the Five of Wands. What is the message here? Oh, interesting. Okay. And the card that's come out here is the Sun. But if you notice that this is not a masculine patriarchal sun, this is a female sun. So this is kind of saying to me that this is what we need to move towards, which is interesting because the North Node is in Cancer at the moment, which is the home, the feminine, the very much a kind of high priestess energy, I feel. Kind of instinctual knowing. Cancerians are very intuitive, very instinctual, very kind of sensitive. They work with their feelings. And I feel that this is kind of saying that on some level, that this is about the kind of moving out of the masculine and more into the feminine, which is something that is actually taking place at this moment. There's a lot of feminine energy astrologically taking place at this moment in time. A lot of planets are in feminine signs, bringing through a feminine energy of change and the kind of the rise of the feminine as well, who has been kept out of the kind of patriarchal system, or has to behave like a very masculine female in order to get anywhere. So this has come out over the top. So for me, this is also saying that there will be a victory here. There will be kind of an enlightening moment. There will be more light brought into this darker situation. This feeling of not having enough. Our cups will be filled. There will be change. Change is coming. There will be more warmth, more light. More growth. So the next cards I'm going to put over is going to be the heart of the reading and the Three of Wands. So I'd like a card for the heart of the reading and the Three of Wands, please. What is the connecting energy here between the Ace of Cups and the Three of Wands? Okay, I've been told to come back to this card and just explain also that the feminine energy of nurturing and all the things of motherhood in particular, because of where the North Node is in Cancer, which is the mother, it is the nurturer, it is the home, it is the part of the female consciousness which has been denied, ignored, and not given the value that it deserves, and that will change. It is the only thing that's going to make a difference, is what I'm being told. How we value our mothers, the mothering energies have been ignored as being of little to no value, when in fact it is how our children are mothered that will make all the difference, and not just give our children away to other people, to allow them to mother them for us. That has to change. Okay, that's not a message I was expecting to come through at all, but that was something. It was like they were telling me I had to go back and talk about the feminine side of what was needed to be brought in order for things to find a balance. Balance, okay. Okay, so, whoops, there it flies. And what have we got? We have the Two of Earth. And it was reversed. And the reason I'm laughing is because this is all about balance, and it was the last word that I said before. You cannot make this up. Okay, so Two of Pentacles, or Earth, as it is here. If you see here, she's got these two coins. Sorry about that light. It's a bit glary there. I'll try and move that. There's one there and there's another one there. And she is literally trying to balance something up here. And this came out reversed between this energy of responsibility or lack of responsibility, and this energy of lack of love. And so there's a feeling at the moment that things are well and truly out of balance. That's the message I'm getting here. Things are out of balance and that they need to be brought into balance. Like the whole world is out of balance. Collectively, we are all out of balance. Okay. The message that I'm getting here is that this is on a soul level as well. That our souls are out of balance because of our connections. Okay, because the earth itself is out of balance and the food that we eat is out of balance. Our connections are out of balance. What we connect with energetically is out of balance as well. And I think that what they're implying also is on a deeper level, our chakra systems are also out of balance. But that's what this card is saying here. Spiritually, we're out of balance too. The feminine and the masculine are out of balance. Okay. Everything's out of balance. And there needs to be this balance brought back. Within ourselves. Within ourselves first, before it can work outwardly, is what I'm being told. Whew. Okay. Any more cards? Any more cards? Any more messages? Big cards. Big cards to shuffle. Okay. I'll go for a card for the Eight of Wands. The energy that is coming in. The energy that is coming in. What is the Eight of Wands for? Why is the Eight of Wands there, please? What is the energy that is coming in to play here? On a bigger scale. What is the energy? Why is the Eight of Wands here? What is the Eight of Wands trying to tell us? Okay. What is the Eight of Wands? Oh, sorry. Yeah, the Eight of Wands trying to tell us for this reading. For the Galactic Center, conjunct Jupiter, or Jupiter conjunct the Galactic Center in Sagittarius. Fiery, passionate, creative Sagittarius. Why is the Eight of Wands there? Okay, I'm going to put a card between the Eight of Wands and the Five of Swords, not just on the Eight of Wands. Five of Swords and the Eight of Wands. What is the message, please? What is the message for the Five of Swords and the Eight of Wands? Do we have a message? Do we have anything that wants to come out? Is there a card? Oh yeah, we certainly do. Okay, so we have a card of temptation between these two cards. This is the energy that is in play, that is connecting the Five of Swords with the Eight of Wands. So the Five of Swords is that kind of outcome, and the Eight of Wands is the energy that's coming in. So the outcome, where we're heading towards, and the energy that's coming in, that's going to take us there, if you like. And what's bridging those two energies is this card here, Temptation, better known as the Devil. Having taken a bite out of that apple, and we all know what happened after that. So this is kind of saying, to me, this is a really big message. Really big message, in the sense of, where would we be today if we hadn't taken a bite out of that apple? Would we be in a better place? Do we still believe those stories? What is the truth around that story? What are we not being told around that story? Yeah, you see there's, I presume that's supposed to be Eve lying there with the temptation of having eaten the apple. And she's got wings, kind of darker angel wings, which are also part of the apple as well. Very cleverly done. There's also a kind of a look of yin and yang here as well, in the sense of this half is red and this half is green, which is very kind of dual energy too. Again, possibly to do with being out of balance. Maybe it goes back that far. We're still being told the same stories, still being told to believe the same, if you like, the same patriarchal system. This is the card that kind of comes out in between the two here. Okay. I'm being told, better the devil you know. And is that true? Is that true? Is it the devil that we know that keeps us in chains, keeps us bound, keeps us trapped? That's really the question here. Or is there a bigger truth? Because really the apple kind of represented that truth. It was the truth. It was the bite out of the apple that kind of changed the story of the human race, if you like. Even though it may not be the true story, we may still find more out about that story as we head further into our future and more comes to light. But there is an element here of, you know, there's also like this kind of chest here of, you know, all that glitters is not gold as well, or glistens, I think is the correct term here. But the temptation, it's all temptation. What are we tempted by? Are we easily bought? How easy is it to buy us out? How strongly can we stand our ground and be honest with ourselves and battle our own kind of devils, demons, temptations in order to see the truth in a matter? Or do we just give in because we think we have no choice? Or do we take the easy route? So I'm going to put one more card. Over the Eight of Wands again. I'm going to put the card over the Eight of Wands and the Knight of Swords, I think. Knight of Swords, how we view this situation. Okay, two more cards. Interesting. Okay, so we have the Six of Water, which is nostalgia, yearning for the past, wanting things to in some ways stay the same, but it is reversed. So to me it's saying that as much as we want it to stay the same, we do know that it's just going to be painful, because here it's almost like she's in pain. She's kind of clutching her stomach, she's holding on to herself. It's like she's really feeling something deeply. And the High Priestess has that kind of energy about her as well, feeling, sensing things on a really deeper level that you may not be able to kind of put into words or express, because you don't really know what it is that you're feeling, but you feel it, you sense it very deeply. And that's what this card is saying to me. The Six of Cups card saying that, you know, there's a nostalgia and a longing for the past. And really we need to let go of that. And the reason I'm saying letting go of it is because it's come out with this card, and this came out the right way up. The call, the calling, the divine, the awakening call, as I was talking about in the astrology earlier. I think the last thing that I said was a wake-up call from the divine. This is the wake-up call from the divine, and it's come out twice, because this is the same card within different tarot decks. So here is the call to arms, if you like, but it's a call of peace, I feel, rather than a call of war. It's a call for love. It's a call for love. It's saying that we've had enough of patriarchal rule and telling us what we can and can't do, especially when it comes to our children. As we send our children off to fight other people's wars, we just end up in pain. And it's happening all over the world still. There's mothers losing their children, fathers losing their children, brothers and sisters, aunts, uncles, every day, because of a system that's been in place for so long. And this is really the message here for me, is a great way to end, because this is literally the judgment call twice. Once upside down and once up the right way. So it's a call from the divine. It's a call from our angelic selves to hear that trumpet, to hear that call, to hear that inner voice that is saying, wake up. Now is the time to wake up. Now is the time to recognize why you are here, as Jupiter conjuncts and passes over the galactic center. This literally for me is that call of the universe. This is the galactic center. What a great way to end. And on that note, I will end the reading, although I do actually have a crystal card here which I would like to read, which is interesting because this is openness. This is what came out earlier, was this card here. Openness, sugar light. And the reason that I would like to bring this out into the reading, because I often think that crystals can help us through difficult situations. So at this moment in time, this may well be a crystal that some of you might want to work with. Sugar light or suggy light. So it says, I will read it from the book because I can't remember all of this. But it works with the third eye, so it's working with the inner realm, the third eye, the instinctual, the knowing, the high priestess. And it's a colour purple. Again, I keep seeming to get colour purple. I don't know why. So it's saying, it's also the colour purple is the higher realm. It is the crown chakra as well, but this is working more with the third eye than the crown chakra. So it says, imagine being inside your head. It is open, expanded, 1,000-fold, and flooded with purple light. As a feeling of peace washes over you, you begin to move forward with astonishing speed, which is interesting because that card there, which I was talking about earlier, moving forward very fast. You sense that you are absorbing everything that passes by you, even if you are not conscious of what it is. There is no point at which you end and something else begins, which I think is probably this card here. This is the card of the awakening, the kind of collective whole that we need to realise that we are all one source of energy. That's what this card is saying to me. We are all one source. Wake up to the fact. There is no separation. You have merged with the divine. You are the universe, and the universe is you. This is the ultimate feeling of openness. Not only are you open with your mind and heart, but each cell has expanded to its outer limits. Every molecule of your being is soaking up the gentle lessons that experience offers. Your total receptivity eliminates any obstacles in your life. You navigate easily through every situation. And that's what this is kind of saying here, that we need to realise that there is something much bigger than us in the sense of holding ourselves back. When you blend with the universe, you cannot escape its ever-present abundance. It will fill your life with prosperity and happiness. Prosperity will become part of you and fill the void where fear and lack previously dwelled. Openness is a divine surrender to goodness. When you are truly open, you uncover the best in yourself, which is who you really are. Any empty, damaged places within you are magically filled and healed with a universal medicine that you magnetize to yourself. You become more than you were. Automatically you feel a relaxation, a peace of body and soul that you have never experienced before. As you open to the universe, the worry, fear and agitation in your life fade and eventually disappear. There is more to that, Crystal, but I think that that kind of covers the main points of what I've been trying to say within this reading today for the galactic center, universal energy that is coming in to anyone who's hearing that call. Heed the call, because it is happening. It is happening. There are changes coming, big changes coming. But anyway, I'd like to say thank you very much to everybody who has watched my video through to the end. If you have liked my video, please can you thumbs it up? Could you also subscribe to my channel, because I'm really trying to grow my channel and I'd really like to get the messages out there that are being given to me. I think it's important at this moment in time for things that are changing and happening to us on a collective level as well as on an individual level as well. So I will be putting out more videos. If you can subscribe and tap the bell as well, so that you will be given notification of when my videos will be coming out, so that you can have the choice to watch them or not watch them. And my email will be in the description box below for anybody who might be interested in having a personal private reading with me. My PayPal link is also on my channel for anybody who wants to pay through PayPal for a private reading, or if anybody would like to make a donation to this channel, it would be greatly received. Anybody who you think might benefit from this reading as well, please feel free to share it with them. And with that, I'm going to say thank you very much. Please take care, and hopefully I'll see you again sometime.